All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today, we're looking at something I know a lot of you have been curious about.
Okay.
It's how athletes are using alternative therapies to kind of boost their game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking specifically at cupping therapy today.
Interesting.
I know you've seen it
Oh, yeah.
all over the news these days,
For sure.
especially with athletes and those kind of crazy circular marks it leaves.
Yeah.
We're going to be basing our deep dive mainly on this evidence-based article from Physio. It's called The Potential of Cupping Therapy, Enhancing Athletic Performance and Recovery.
Okay.
So the big question we're going to try to answer today is whether cupping is all hype or if it can genuinely help athletes perform better.
It really is fascinating how this ancient technique is being used more and more in the modern sports world.
Right, like you think of it as this ancient Chinese medicine, but then you see it on someone like Michael Phelps and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I gotta admit, even I'm a little fuzzy on like what cupping actually is.
Basically, think of it like this. Imagine you're putting suction cups on your skin, right? And those cups create a vacuum, gently pulling up the tissue underneath.
Okay.
That's cupping in a nutshell.
So it's like almost like a reverse massage.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
But what's the point of the suction? How does that actually help athletes?
Well, that's where the science gets really interesting.
Okay.
The Physio article mentions researchers like Hong and Kui who've been looking into the effects of cupping.
Okay.
Like back in 2011, Hong's research showed that the suction from cupping could actually change how tissues are structured.
Wow.
Like it stretches muscles and nerves, increases blood flow, and even helps break down old blood cells.
So it's not just some superficial thing, it's actually making changes deep down in the tissues.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, athletes are always looking for ways to recover faster, right? So could cupping be a part of that?
That's one of the main things researchers are looking into right now. The idea is that by increasing blood flow to muscles, cupping might help deliver nutrients and oxygen more efficiently.
Okay, yeah.
But it also might remove waste products faster. So it's kind of like...
So it's like giving your muscles a turbo boost for healing.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're pushing your body all the time, anything that can help you recover faster is a huge plus.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's not only about muscle recovery.
Oh.
The article also talks about how cupping might be good for pain management, which is obviously a big deal for athletes.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially if you don't want to rely on painkillers or have to go through any invasive procedures.
Yeah,
Having something natural for pain relief would be really appealing.
definitely.
But how does it actually help with pain? I'm curious.
Well, there might be a couple of things happening.
Okay.
One idea is that the suction from the cups actually stimulates the nerve endings,
Interesting.
which could then reduce pain, similar to how acupuncture works.
Oh, okay, so it's not just masking the pain. It might actually be using the body's own pain management system.
Right, and another theory is that by boosting blood flow and decreasing inflammation, cupping could be addressing the root causes of pain.
So it's not just about blocking pain signals. It's about creating an environment where the tissues can heal better.
That's right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that's what's so fascinating about cupping. There are multiple ways it might actually be working to help athletes.
It's like this multi-pronged approach to both recovery and improving your performance.
Yeah.
But I do want to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Right.
The benefits sound amazing, but sometimes when something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Are there any downsides or limitations that the article mentions?
That's a great question, and it's important to think critically for sure.
Yeah.
The article does say that cupping isn't a cure-all, and it emphasizes that we need more research, especially on the long-term effects.
Okay.
It also stresses that cupping should just be one tool among many when it comes to athletic training and recovery. It's not meant to replace other therapies or healthy habits.
So it's about finding the right balance.
Right.
And not expecting cupping to solve every problem.
Exactly.
What else does the article say about using cupping responsibly?
One of the key things is to work with a qualified practitioner.
Okay.
This is really important, especially for athletes who are pushing their bodies so hard.
So don't just grab some cups from who knows where and try it yourself.
Exactly.
What should athletes look for in a qualified cupping therapist?
It's crucial to find someone who's properly trained and experienced in cupping therapy, particularly when working with athletes.
Yeah.
They need to really understand the demands and potential risks involved
Okay.
and be able to tailor the treatment to each individual athlete.
So it's like any healthcare professional, you want someone who really listens to you and understands your specific situation.
Precisely.
And then comes up with a plan just for you.
Exactly. And with cupping, that personalization is really key.
Okay.
The article even mentions how the placement, intensity, and duration of cupping can be adjusted based on the athlete's needs and goals.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all treatment.
No, definitely not.
It's more like a customized toolkit that you can adjust to address specific problems.
Right.
Wow, this is getting really interesting, but I know we've only scratched the surface here.
Yeah, we've got a lot more to unpack.
And I, for one, am ready to dive deeper.
Me too.
All right, so we've talked about how cupping isn't just some mystical practice. There's actual science behind it.
Right.
But I want to dig into the details a little bit more.
Okay.
Like, how does this whole suction cup thing actually work in the body?
Well, the Physio article does a good job explaining the science behind it.
Okay.
One of the main things is what we've already touched on, increasing blood flow to the area where the cups are placed. It's kind of similar to what happens during a massage,
Okay.
where the pressure and movement help to get the blood flowing better.
So it's like delivering a fresh supply of oxygen and nutrients straight to your muscles.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an express lane for recovery.
Makes sense. And remember, we talked about Hong's research suggesting that cupping might actually break down old blood cells.
Oh, yeah.
Does
Yeah.
it tie into this too?
It does. Getting rid of those damaged cells and replacing them with fresh, oxygen-rich blood is super important for healing.
It's like a detox for your muscles.
Kind of, yeah.
But what about the other benefits we've talked about? Like, how does cupping help with pain relief and flexibility?
Well, that's where fascia comes into play.
Fascia.
Yeah, remember fascia is that connective tissue that surrounds all your muscles and organs.
Oh yeah, it's like a web that holds everything together, right?
Exactly. And when the cups create that suction, they gently pull on the fascia,
Oh.
which can help release tension and tightness.
So it's like giving your fascia a deep stretch.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's got to be where the flexibility and range of motion benefits come in.
That's right.
By loosening up the fascia, your muscles can move more freely.
Exactly. And then there's the whole pain management piece.
Yeah.
The article suggests a couple of ways cupping might be working there.
Okay.
First, the suction from the cups could be stimulating those nerve endings,
Okay.
which could then trigger a pain-relieving effect, similar to how acupuncture works.
So it's not just about blocking pain signals, it's actually tapping into the body's own pain management system.
Right, exactly. And second, by improving blood flow and reducing inflammation, cupping might actually be addressing the root cause of the pain.
So it's a two-pronged attack on pain. You address the symptoms and tackle the underlying cause at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And it really highlights how interesting cupping is. There are so many ways it could be helping athletes.
It really is multifaceted.
But I do want to make sure we're not glossing over any potential risks or limitations here.
For sure.
The article does stress the importance of working with a qualified practitioner, right?
Oh, absolutely. This isn't something you should try at home with just any old suction cups you find.
Right.
You need a trained practitioner who understands the ins and outs of cupping therapy, especially when it comes to working with athletes.
Yeah.
They need to be able to evaluate your individual needs, consider your medical history, your training regimen,
Yeah.
all of that, and then come up with a safe and effective treatment plan just for you.
It sounds like finding the right practitioner is as crucial as understanding the science behind cupping.
I couldn't agree more.
You really want someone who's knowledgeable, experienced, and takes a personalized approach,
Exactly.
because every athlete is different, and their cupping therapy should reflect that.
Absolutely.
So for someone listening who's thinking about trying cupping therapy,
Yeah.
what would you say are the key takeaways so far?
Well, I'd say the most important thing is to do your research.
Okay.
We've seen some promising evidence today,
Yeah.
but it's really important to understand both the potential benefits and limitations of cupping.
So it's about being an informed consumer. Don't just jump into something without knowing the whole picture.
That's right.
What else should people keep in mind?
Definitely make finding a qualified practitioner a top priority.
Okay.
Don't just go to anyone who offers cupping.
Mm-hmm.
Find someone who specializes in working with athletes and has a good track record.
Someone who understands the unique demands and risks involved.
Exactly.
And lastly, it's important to remember that cupping isn't a quick fix or a standalone solution.
Yeah.
It works best when it's part of a bigger plan that includes other therapies, good training habits, and a healthy lifestyle.
Definitely.
So it's about finding the right combination of tools and strategies that work for you.
Exactly.
And it sounds like Physio Hub has some specific recommendations for how athletes can incorporate cupping into their routines.
Yeah, they do.
What do they say?
Well, they suggest using cupping to target specific conditions like muscle stiffness or injuries.
Okay.
They also recommend combining cupping with other therapies, like physical therapy or acupuncture,
Oh, okay.
to create a more holistic approach.
So it's about using cupping strategically,
Right.
not just randomly applying it to any ache or pain you have.
That's right.
What else do they recommend? So they're saying be targeted and think about how it all fits together.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Right.
What else does the article say?
Well, they really emphasize that it's important to keep track of how your body's responding to the treatment
Okay.
and then adjust the plan accordingly.
So it's kind of like an ongoing experiment.
Exactly.
You see how you feel and tweak things as you go.
Yeah, it's all about finding that sweet spot where cupping can really support the athlete's goals.
And it sounds like it's a real team effort between the athlete and the practitioner.
Definitely.
They have to work together to figure out what works best.
Absolutely. It's all about empowering the athlete to take charge of their own health and performance.
That's great advice. It reminds us that everyone is different, and what works for one person might not work for another. So for our listener who's thinking about giving cupping a try, what would you say are the most important things to keep in mind?
I'd say, first of all, keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Cupping has been around for centuries, but we're just now starting to understand it scientifically.
Yeah, we're always learning new things about health and performance.
Exactly, and it's exciting to see how this ancient practice is getting some modern validation.
Totally. What else would you emphasize?
Definitely don't just jump into it because you saw some athlete with cupping marks and thought it looked cool.
Right.
Take the time to really understand the potential benefits and risks and talk to a qualified professional before you make any decisions.
Really good advice. It's all about taking ownership of your health and performance journey.
For sure.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, one more thing.
Okay.
I'd really encourage our listeners to remember what Physio Hub was saying about a holistic approach. Don't just think of cupping as a quick fix or a standalone solution. It's going to be most effective when it's part of a bigger plan.
Okay.
Like it should be combined with other therapies, a good training program, and healthy habits overall.
So it's all about finding the right combination of things that work for you.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so interesting. It's not about one magic bullet.
Right.
It's about finding your own unique recipe for success.
I love that. It's like your own personal formula.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe cupping will be one of the key ingredients that helps you unlock a whole new level of performance and well-being.
Well said. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've gone deep into the history, the science, the benefits, and even the things to watch out for when it comes to cupping therapy for athletes.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
Absolutely. And as always, we encourage our listeners to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop learning.
That's what it's all about.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
And stay curious.